The first thing that Aspies can't do is they can't remember incidentals. Now, if you are an Aspie person with Asperger syndrome, you may remember when you went to school and you forgot something like your books, or maybe you forgot your pencil, or maybe you forgot your homework assignment. Now, when we say these are things that Aspies can't do, we don't mean that they can never remember anything. They're just things that, in general, they have trouble doing. Now, I know sometimes that I will go to the grocery store and I get halfway there and I realize I forgot my wallet, or I forgot my coupons, or I forgot something else. I don't, do you say coupon or coupon? Whatever. Let me know in the comments section if you care to communicate that. Second thing they can't do is they can't avoid extreme organization. We talk about this a lot, but one of the keystone markers of Asperger syndrome is they tend to be routine-ized. They like to organize things. Now, you may say that you know people with Asperger syndrome, maybe yourself, and you're kind of messy. Walk into your room or your office, and it looks like to the untrained eye, it looks like there was a tornado or something came through your office. But a lot of people don't understand that some people with Asperger syndrome have filing systems, and other people have piling systems. Everything in that room is in order. If they need something, they know exactly where it is in all that mess. So it looks like a mess to the untrained eye. But to the person with Asperger syndrome, that's their piling system. They know where it is and they're well organized. It just doesn't look like it because that's not the way neurotypical people would organize things. Number three is this: they can't think well in abstract generalities. This is something that personally I've never really had a problem with, extreme problem with, but a little bit, not too much. But somebody may ask something like, why did you do that? Well, that's a generality. Why did I do what? What are you talking about? And it may be something as simple as, well, why did you wear your hat backwards? Or why do you wear your hair like that? Or why did you wear that jacket? Or why did you wear jeans? Could be very obvious, why do you look like that? Or why did you do that? Or why did you wear that? And you got to be a little more specific with most people with Asperger syndrome because they don't think well in abstracts always. That's not to say that they never think in abstracts so they can't understand them, but generally they fall behind other people. Something else they can't do, this is number four, and this one is a big one, so you might want to take note of this, and that is people with Asperger syndrome can't be manipulators. They can't be manipulative. Now, that, by the way, is a primary cause for social defeat, because when you are in a social situation where the norm is to be a manipulator, what we find is that lefties, or not lefties, but Aspies, why did I say lefties? It came out of left field. Um, People with Asperger syndrome, they don't get it. Social defeat, everyone else is being manipulative and it's part of how they socialize. But we don't understand. We think things should be just straightforward. Now, that, by the way, I think is one of the reasons why Aspies tend to be gullible and easily manipulated, because we don't understand manipulation the way that neurotypical people do. And again, when we say can't, remember we're saying that in a general term. A little bit of manipulation, probably so, but in general, we can't be manipulative. And number five is a little bit similar. We can't lie. By the way, are you checking these things off as we go? When we talk about things, are you saying, yeah, that's me, yeah, that's me, yeah, that's me? Because probably of all, what do we have, 11 of these, I think? I don't think there's any Aspie who would check every single point. Okay, maybe there's some, maybe this would be true of you, but by and large, you probably check most of them, but not all of them. So number five is can't lie. I'm trying to think of all the times that I have lied in my life, and I can't think of. I know that I have. I mean, everybody does, but I can't think of a single time where I just flat out lied to somebody with the intent of being deceptive. I've been wrong, obviously, lots of times. But I recall, for example, when I was, I don't know, maybe 14, 15 years old, I had a friend, we were in church, and I had a friend who was like 2 years older than me and had a driver's license and had a car. And for some reason, I always tend to hang out with people who were like, when I was a kid, who were like 2 or 3 years older than me. I didn't have many friends. Most of them were a couple years older. I had one really good friend who was the same age, but married a person who's 2 years older than me. Don't know what that has to do with anything. But anyhow, he said, let's cut church. We were in church. And his idea was go to a place called Burger Chef. If you're old enough, you may remember those things. They're like McDonald's, only different. You know, basically same concept, fast food hamburgers. So we got in his car, we went to Burger Chef, and we had a hamburger and a Coke and a milkshake or whatever, and came back to church before it was ended. And we thought nobody would know the difference. Nobody would be the wiser. Well, it turns out we were wrong. Our parents were waiting for us. And his parents asked him, and this is how you can't lie. His parents asked him, where were you? He just flat out lied. He said, we were right here. Well, knowing that I didn't lie, they then asked me, where were you? And I told them the truth. I said, I was with him. So, yeah, I kind of got out of it, but I had to tell the truth, and that was the best way I could do. Number 6 is we can't be still. People with Asperger syndrome have a hard time just sitting very, very still. When I do these presentations, you notice when I sit in my chair here, I tend to rock back and forth the whole time that I'm talking. Some people have a problem with being around people with Asperger syndrome because they see that as being fidgety or being anxious, and maybe it is anxiety, and this is just a way of absorbing it. But yeah, if I'm sitting alone, I have to do something. If I am listening to somebody speak, like in church or in school or wherever it is, I have to be doing something to focus. So what I will do is I will take notes, not to be read later, but every time the person says a word, I will write down as fast as I can everything they say. That forces me to pay attention, because if I don't do that, I'm just lost. They're talking for about 30 seconds into their presentation, unless they are exceptionally good speakers. My mind is gone. I'm thinking of something else. So we just can't be still. You know, just sitting there listening to somebody talk is, well, for me anyhow, you just can't do it. I get up and walk around if I possibly can. I don't like to be still. Taking an airplane ride is torture. When I was coming back from China a few years ago, man, that's a long flight. I just got up and walked to the back of the plane and kind of fiddled around the whole time. And one of the flight crew who was ever in charge of it came back and told me that I needed to sit down in case of an emergency. Well, I just kind of didn't pay a whole lot of attention. I did, but kind of faked like, what? You know, like, man, your accent. You know, I didn't say that, but I just kind of shook my head like I didn't understand. Okay, so maybe you can lie. So number 6 is you can't be still. Number 7 is we can't relate to idioms. For example, an idiom would be beat around the bush, or bite the bullet, or break a leg. I understand all those things perfectly. I know exactly what they are. But a lot of people with Asperger syndrome, they just don't get it. I don't know a lot of people that can't relate to idioms, but I guess they're out there because researchers say they are. I personally have never encountered somebody who is that extreme, but apparently that is one of the things that Aspies cannot do. Number 8 is we can't read facial expressions and body languages as efficiently as those who are neurotypicals. I'm pretty sure I know when somebody's frowning. I know and I know that means they're sad. I know when they're smiling. That means they're happy or being devious. I know when they're crying. They are sad, or they are injured, or they are faking it. And by the way, one of the ways you can tell when somebody is faking crying is they don't sob. A real cry, you have sobs, where you inhale rapidly, like a little kid, who's hurt and they're sobbing. But I watch actors sometimes, and they try to pretend to cry, but they're not sobbing. It's not good acting. They don't seem to understand that. But Aspies tend to fall behind when it comes to reading facial expressions. So if you're mad at an Aspie and you're just going to give them the look, chances are you're not communicating anything. You may as well stare at a wall. Give a wall a dirty look. Number 9 is Aspies can't absorb long instructions. So if you're going to talk to an Aspie and you want to give them instructions, they're typically not stupid people. They tend to have, as people with Asperger syndrome, tend to have higher than average IQs, but you have to break it down. Years ago, I had this bright idea that I would take Taekwondo. So I signed up for a Taekwondo class, and I learned a little bit. You kick, you punch, you jump around, whatever. And part of the exercises is they would give you a sequence of things to do. And then you would do those in sequence. I guess it's to get your body used to reacting. And I'd go up to like 3, let's say punch, kick, jump, or whatever. I could do 3 of them, but go beyond 3, I was lost. But everybody in the class seemed to pick it up fine, no problem whatsoever. Some of them would be a little hesitant, but I thought maybe I'm just dumb. But then later I found that I had Asperger syndrome. So number 9 again is they can't absorb long instructions. Something else we can't do or have trouble doing is adjust to new environments. We get comfortable where we are, we like where we are, and we stay where we are. You ever heard of a rich guy who lives in a poor house, drives a poor car? They just, won't buy new clothes, wears old shoes. Yeah, that's part of being a person with Asperger syndrome. I've mentioned a couple times on this channel that I tend to wear the same shirt all the time. Now, not literally the same shirt, but I've got 17 shirts that are identical other than color. I'm comfortable with those. I tend to wear sweatpants every single day, year around. Unless I'm going somewhere, like a wedding or a funeral where you need to put on a suit, which, man, they're uncomfortable. But I like to be comfortable. I'm driving a minivan that I bought. I think I bought it in the year 2000. Has over 300,000 miles on it. I figure, it's cheaper to get the thing repaired when it breaks than to make payments on a new car, which I don't want to do, or make one big payment to pay cash on it. I mean, okay, so it costs me $500 to $1,000 a year in repairs. I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly happy with my old minivan, Venture. If you ever owned a Chevy Venture, the windows don't work. Number 11 is something that Aspies can't do, is they can't relay messages. If you have a message to send to somebody, you may want to consider not asking an Aspie to take the message for you, because there's a good chance they will forget or they get it wrong. We just can't relay messages. And again, when I say can't, modulate that, if you would please. Doesn't mean it's virtually impossible, but what we mean is we're just not very good at it. It's not something we excel in. Then number 12, I said we have 11 of these. I said 12 is can't find a partner. That may be why Aspies tend to be single. I've been married more than half my life. I was married when I was in my 20s. We're approaching our 50th wedding anniversary, but it's very common for people with Asperger syndrome to just be single their entire life because they just can't get related to another person, particularly those who have who are neurotypical. I guess it'd be even harder to relate to somebody who has Asperger syndrome because they can't relate to you. But you may remember in school sometimes, and this is where Aspies really stand out, is in school, where their character traits are so obviously different, but there were occasions where you were instructed to pair off. We did this in gym several times. Get a partner, find a partner. You can always tell the Aspie because the person with Asperger syndrome is the one, after everybody found a partner, standing all by himself. Now, I never went to a dance when I was a kid, but they say that they did this strange thing, which would be torment to a person with Asperger syndrome, where the boys would be on one side of the gym, the dance floor, and the girls would be on the other side, and go pick a partner. I can't imagine following those instructions. I'd be standing there waiting to see who's left over, you know? And then they would switch it, and they would say, you know, the girls would find a partner. Okay, then I had a better chance. But I always liked being in an environment where you had assigned seats, you had assigned partners. Just made it a whole lot easier. Yeah, I recall when I went to summer camp, we were supposed to have partners to get in the water. Fortunately for me, went swimming. But fortunately for me, they assigned me a partner, so I didn't have to go find somebody. And then I lost him. What didn't occur to me is when you get in the water, your appearance changes because you look different wet. Your hair's all matted and that, and I couldn't figure out which one was my partner. Eventually, fortunately, he found me, so all was well. Okay, so how did you do on the 12 questions? What am I leaving out? Can you think of anything at all that I'm missing here? Let's keep the conversation going. Click on one of those rectangles that is on the screens because we have a whole lot more to talk about, and we will see you next time.